we bring you unusual option activity. And today is the 4th of March. Almost had to stutter with that one. 4th of March. And we appreciate you joining us as always. Our disclaimer is that this is provided for informational and educational purposes only, and that all investments involve risk. So before you trade on any of the information I'm about to provide, understand that you need to be aware of time decay, which would be theta, volatility compression, which would be vega, and that all investments involve risk. Also, intellectual property rights. Yes, we have registered marks, trademarks, copyrights, and patents on almost everything you're about to see. So please, before you just use it, ask us first. Thank you. All right, this is the headline of the day, my friends. Fed Chair Powell, Fed will be patient on keeping easy money policy. So why would the Fed Chair come out and say that? Well, because interest rates had been moving up. Because last week, as I talked about and worried about, some other folks on the panel weren't as worried. I was worried, and I expressed that. And I said that if we keep up this pace, we had hit 161 in the 10-year last week. We had pulled back 20 from there to 141. But nonetheless, I think that's really negative short term for the market. Now, a lot of people will say, oh, but you shouldn't be thinking short term. When you're a trader, you think short term. That's what we do. So anyway, here is the likely scenario for why this played out this way. And I said this to Steve Leisman and to Scott Wapner, and I'll show you the tweet in a sec. The Fed will always react first by jawboning about it, the modern Fed. Back in the old days, they wouldn't have done anything or said anything. But now they will talk about it and hope that that allays some fears. This did not. So the market immediately spiked because they said, ha, he's not doing anything. He's just talking. That's exactly right. If you expect something and you only get talk, that is not going to stabilize the market at all. That's why we see a sell-off that at one point carried the Dow down 400 plus points today and the NASDAQ down over 2%. Now, right now, the market is off of those lows. The S&P off of its low as well. But right now, with about an hour to trade in the regular session, S&P's down 1.25%, Dow's down 1.25%, NASDAQ down 2%. So that talking didn't work. The talking didn't allay the fears. Instead, it caused the bond vigilantes and so forth to sort of rejoice that the Fed wasn't going to do anything in the short term. And that's why I put out this tweet, which says, and I'll quote myself, why stocks sold so hard on what Steve Leisman said was optimistic chatter from Powell. Traders know the Fed's first move is always to talk or jawbone. They don't worry about talk. They'd react more to actions, such as a new Operation Twist, which I think is the next move. For those of you who aren't as familiar with what a twist might be, if the Fed jumped in here and started selling those short-term paper and buying the 10-year and further out paper, this would be a twist. This is a different move than they have been making over the past several months, coming up on a year. So I think the Fed is likely to announce that that's what they're going to do. That will cause the markets to reverse. That is, the bond sell-off to avert, to stop, and turn the other way. That's my opinion anyway, and that's what I think is going to play out. So keep an eye on it and remember where you heard it. First trade of the day on 3 at 3. Community Health, CYH. Bullish call buying. The stock's an $8 stock, $8.60 to be precise. And they are buying 24,000 April 10 calls for 35 cents. All right, so let's talk about this. 2.4 million share equivalent of this stock, Community Health, CYH. If you bought 2.4 million shares of that, that would set you back, I don't know, 18, 19 million bucks, something like that. 2 million times 8, give or take. Meanwhile, at 35 cents a piece, which is $35 for each option, since every option is for 100 shares of stock, $35 times 24,000 is a lot smaller. It's a lot easier to digest. In fact, it's basically $1 million bet, not a $18, $19 million bet. So whoever's doing this wanted to have leverage, obviously. They also wanted to participate in upside moves that this stock could make between now, the 4th of March, and the 3rd Friday in April. And to the extent that they get some movement there, this will turn out to be a winning trade for them. So stock had moved up by about 28 cents since we cited this. It's at 888, and look at that spike on the right side of that chart. The stock was hovering about 820, and then it started moving, as you saw. We cited it when it was 860. It's now 28 cents higher than that at 888. Community Health, I'm in, and you don't have to just buy the 10s. You could buy a lower strike and sell a higher strike on this 28-cent rally, which is what I am doing. By the way, presented by Voyager, which is a registered broker for cryptocurrencies. They trade over 50 different cryptocurrencies at Voyager. They are a sponsor of our morning show, which is the Daily Crypto Byte, B-Y-T-E. And they pay interest of close to 9% on some cryptos that are deposited there. So it's a multi-billion-dollar company, growing like a weed up in Canada, and also trades over the counter in the United States. So if you would like to join that chat room and talk with Matt and CJ, those other two gentlemen in the picture with me, you can do that for $1 for the first month. $1. 100 pennies, 10 dimes, 4 quarters, 20 nickels. You guys get the idea. So for $1, you could join. Decide, hey, this is something that really helps me with my crypto investing and or trading, because there are charts, there are chat rooms, there's all this good stuff going on almost 24/7 in that room, and you can join for $1. And then if you decide it's not for me, drop it. It's $29 regularly. All right, let's get to the second of our 3 at 3. The second trade is Marathon Oil. And as you see there, even though the energy stocks have been hot, Marathon was kind of lagging. Last Friday, traded a couple hundred contracts. The first, which was Monday, the second, Tuesday, the third, Wednesday. Here we are, the fourth. All of a sudden, boom, a spike in call buying for Marathon. So I bought the Marathon June 12 calls. They are out approximately, since we're coming into March expiration, 3 months into the future, because April, May, June, I like this trade. I am in the calls. There it is. So this is an at the money or just in the money call that they were buying. I bought those in hopes of selling a higher strike against it. And I like the space a lot. And I think that even with OPEC chatter today, these stocks continue to work, which is why I like being in Marathon. That is our YouTube page. If you go to YouTube, we're now approaching 14,000 subscribers. We appreciate each and every one of you that do subscribe. Those are a few of the offerings that you get for free. There is no subscription for this, not even $1 a month. You can subscribe over at YouTube just by typing YouTube. In the search bar on YouTube, you type Market Rebellion, and then you click that little subscribe button. And you could see Pete's The Take. You could see the Daily Crypto Byte, goes up every day. At 10 a.m. Eastern is when we do it live. My 60-second video, which goes up about 8 o'clock, 8:15 in the morning. That's Central, or 9:15 Eastern. The updates that we post, as well as 3 at 3. I had a great podcast today, by the way, with Martin Ford. That's Martyn, Martin Ford. If you don't know him yet, you will. I don't know if he's Jason Momoa or Dave Bautista, but he is an action star that is really getting a lot of love these days. He was in a movie with Pierce Brosnan and Dave Bautista called Final Score. He was also in, The Kingsman, The Golden Circle, with Colin Firth and Taron Egerton, the guy that played Elton John in Rocket Man. And he's now in one of the biggest movies that's going to launch this year, which is going to be Fast and Furious 9. Had a great discussion with him about, going from being a kid down and out to being this muscle man and now this famous actor in action films. So you get all of that by going over to our YouTube channel and subscribing. Again, it's completely free, and I know you're going to like that interview that I had with Martin Ford. Oh, whoops, didn't mean to have that one up. Let's do Exxon Mobil. Infosys rather was yesterday, so sorry, I didn't kill that slide. Exxon Mobil, they're buying options in here. Yes, stock was $58.40 when they were buying them, and the stock, as you see here, that's a shot of me from the halftime report, was up over 4% and trading $58.94 when I announced it on the halftime report. They're big time buying March 60 calls. These calls expire the 26th of March. There you see it. They bought 7,000 with stock at $58.42. They bought 7,000 of those March 60 calls. You could buy a lower strike and sell a higher strike. You could buy the 60s, and if you get a pop, sell those or a higher strike. Again, you have to decide how to trade your money. There is Exxon Mobil, 58.52 just minutes before we went on air here, and $247 billion monster. Let's get to some questions, shall we? Questions today at Jon Najarian at 3@3_UOA. DraftKings, Tito Ortiz, which is at ORTEASETITO, says, with the Dish deal and UFC showing betting odds during fights, DraftKings is showing that they are in it to win it. Any doubt that DraftKings doesn't break 100 a share by the end of the year? I think they will. I think they will, Tito. I like DraftKings a lot. I buy it on dips. Today is one of those dips, and today I'm buying again. We'll see how that works out. I traded it earlier this week and took profits, and then it reversed and went down. Well, made a bigger dip today, and I bought some today. So I've reestablished my position, Tito. Alex asks us about Walmart, and Alex's handle is at STAUCH09. How do you feel about Walmart? Is it a strong reopening play, or will it only bump because of the stimulus bill? At the Money Calls, which is ATM, at the Money Calls on it jumped big this morning. Alex, I do like Walmart. I lightened up and took my position off in there, not because they're a bad company, but just because I thought the growth might be slow versus what I expect elsewhere. I did reload in Target on that big sell-off that took it down to the 100-day moving average. Let me see, where is my buddy Target right now? Let's see, TGT. Well, it broke through that 100 days, so I'm not as happy as I'd be if it held. But I might have to examine my covered right and maybe roll down that call in Target because I own stock and now I'm aggressively selling calls in there. Maybe I need to get more aggressive. Thanks for the heads up, Alex. And let's see, I think we have at least one more. No, we don't. We have instead Vegas, baby. Yeah. Early bird pricing ends next week. So if you would like to join us the 1st and 2nd of October, please go to the Market Rebellion website and check out the offerings. We're going to have a fabulous lineup yet again. I was talking to that guy who you kind of see in the picture there this morning, Kevin O'Leary. And we hope to have just a killer lineup of folks that are movers and shakers in the market to give you ideas about discipline, about best sectors for 2022, because this will be October as we begin the fourth quarter of 2021. Lots to talk about with the reopening and all the rest, and we're really looking forward to being there in person. So thank you. Thank you for joining me today, folks. I hope wherever you are, you end up having a fabulous day, and let's do it again tomorrow, huh? See you then.